All right. All right. And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. All right. Today we have a very special guest. Those of you that have played the Devil May Cry games might know him as the voice, but not only the voice, he also does the motion capture work for Dante in Devil May Cry 3, 4, and 5. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Reuben Langdon, everyone.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Awesome. It's awesome. And I would also like to introduce, you guys know him from doing anime videos as well as videos about comic books, and that is the co-host today, and that is Yellow Flash.
How's everybody doing?
Nice, Yellow Flash. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Awesome,
it's a pleasure.
Awesome. Yep. And now let's just jump right into it. So Reuben just recently finished doing a launch party over there in Japan for the release of Devil May Cry 5.
Yes, it wiped me out. I just got back to Tokyo at the beginning of the month, and I caught the 2-week bug that's been going around here, and I was only about a week into my 2-week bug. That's what they're calling it here. It's like everybody's been getting it, and it lasts. It lasts for 2 weeks and a day for me.
Jeez.
And the launch party was great, but I expended I was resting up, trying to be ready and hopefully get over the cold before the launch party. But unfortunately, it was still lingering. And then I just spent everything I had at the party, and I didn't have a voice for like 3 or 4 days. Nothing would come out of my mouth. It was crazy.
That's the life of a voice actor is rough.
Well, yeah, to a certain extent. The only time I've lost my voice like that was when I was recording lines for Ken Masters, and had, I think it was my first or second recording for Ken, screaming, Shoryuken, Hadokens, and just going all out for the in-game stuff. And I remember then it was the next day. Luckily, by day 2 or 3 after that, I had my voice back. But it's frustrating not having a voice. It sucks.
Yeah, I bet, man. I know you were down for a little bit. I remember you telling me that you had got something right when you got back from Guatemala.
Yeah.
So I know that's why we had to put it off for a bit, man. But I'm glad you're doing better. I mean, you definitely.
I'm doing better. I'm almost 100%. Just a little cough here and there, but yeah. And you'd think I'd get something in Guatemala, not in Japan, but actually, I think just from all the travel and stress and getting shot at and all that stuff, it probably took a toll on the immune system and then caught up with me. So once I finally got to Japan, that 2-week virus thing floating in the air, and I went to the supermarket without wearing my mask, which is a no-no. And if you ever in Japan, if you're ever in Japan in the wintertime, everybody's got a mask on, just in the trains, stations, and half the people are sick and half the people are trying to not get sick.
Jeez. See, and that's one thing. There's a couple people in the chat asking about what happened in Guatemala. I put a video out about it, but it would probably be better to hear it from you because you're the one that actually experienced it. It's crazy stuff. Because I know you're out there filming a documentary currently with your good friend.
Yeah, I was just out there working on a project called Vision of the Ages. It's sort of part 2 to a documentary called Shift of the Ages, which is free online. I recommend everybody to look it up. It's on Vimeo for free. And sort of getting ready, cranking up for part 2. It was our first week of filming. We went to Guatemala to go visit the Mayan elder Tata, who is I guess he's 90. He just turned 90. He's in his deathbed, but not feeling so good. But we wanted to kind of get his blessing for this documentary to pass the torch on to Chief Phil Lane Jr., who is a Native American Indian, and we wanted to. We went and filmed, and we're sort of getting the blessings and launching this project. And we dropped Chief Phil off at the airport. We sort of got his portion of the filming done, and we were on our way to some temples to do some B-roll shoots. And just out of the blue, we were driving through Guatemala City, we got diverted off on Google, diverted us off. Well, I should say we missed our exit, and then it diverted us to get us back onto the main freeway, and it was crazy traffic, middle of the day, like 5 p.m. traffic in Guatemala City, and all of a sudden, just some dude just opens fire on our car, and 3 shots in the back, blew out our window. Was sort of caught in the middle of it, not knowing what's going on. I looked in the rearview mirror. Dude's running up with a gun. He literally comes right up to the car, tries to open the door. Luckily, my buddy locked the doors just prior to that. He couldn't get in, and then he just started blasting through the door. And my buddy, driver Steve, quick thinking, I'm screaming, go, 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 get the hell out of here. And as he's driving away, the guy unloads the rest of the clip into the door. And then he goes against traffic, opposite side of traffic, head on to traffic. And he's sort of doing crazy kamikaze driving through Guatemala City. And then we get stuck again. It's just like bumper to bumper. There's no, whichever direction, there's no way to move. Look in our rearview mirror, and the guy's still running up the hill with the gun. By this time he may have, unloaded his clip. He may have gotten 10 shots out, maybe not, for sure 6 holes were in the car. We counted, but I just was yelling, dudes, the guy's still coming. Get the hell out of here. We finally went over the hill and then around a corner, and then again, just stuck, not moving. And that was probably we were stuck for about 2 minutes. But that, I swear to God, that was the longest 2 minutes of my life. Looking in the rearview mirror, waiting for the guy to come around the corner, and just and thinking of every scenario of like, okay, what do you do in that scenario? Do you get out and run? Do you stay because you're stuck in traffic? You're sitting duck. You don't know. He could easily come up and have another clip, unload another clip into the car, point blank with no direction to move. We're sitting ducks. So you have all this stuff. I'm like trying to think of all these scenarios. What do you do? What do you do? Luckily, he didn't come around the corner. Traffic started moving, and we got onto the main freeway and got out of there. But it was I've done a lot of stunts in my life, and I've done a lot of crazy things. But that one probably takes the cake for as far as, that near-death experience. And most of the other stuff, if you do a stunt and it sort of goes wrong or is on the edge, you kind of, those are accidents, as opposed to when you're facing death and you're at the end of if anybody's ever been at the end of a barrel of a gun and with someone with intent to kill, it's not a good place to be. It sucks.
Yeah, I'll bet, man. Oh man, well, thank goodness that dude was a lousy shot.
So he just came out of nowhere. Sorry, he just came out of nowhere and started shooting at you, and then tried to jump into your car.
Well, I don't know if he tried to jump in the car, if he was trying to open the door to execute us. He started, first thing that goes through your head is, okay, is he there to steal something? But then there's a video online. The first 3 shots are unloaded in the car, and those are shots to kill. So for him to be there to steal something, I mean, if he was truly trying to steal something, I mean, he could blast the windows, blast the car, kill us. But like my buddy locked the doors, like he may not even be able to get access into the car. So first and foremost, whether he was there, whatever his motives were, maybe it was to steal, he was there to kill first. Kill and then steal, or just kill, or whatever. But the kill factor was for sure. We've analyzed the video. It's out of the blue. The guy started opening fire on us. No matter which way you look at it, he was there to kill first. And his intent, I saw the guy. I was like literally 3 feet from the end of the gun barrel. And I saw the dude's face. I saw the intent. The guy was there to kill. I just saw pure evil.
Wow.
If he was an assassin, he was a poor one then.
Yep.
Well, I think he was. Here's my sort of take on it. I think the dude was probably a gang member, probably hopped up on some sort of drug, and probably pissed because even though we had blacked out windows, all the windows in Guatemala, even the car rental, everything, they're all super tinted and black. So for everybody's protection, so you can't see inside, so you don't know what's going on. I was filming, but maybe, just maybe, he saw the silhouette of the camera of me filming. And if he was a gang member, if he was hopped up on drugs, who knows what goes through these people's minds. But my best take was that he thought, what the hell, somebody's in my territory, somebody's filming, I'm going to take him out. That's probably the most likely logical situation or answer to the whole situation. So if you're in Guatemala and you do some filming, just make sure you hide you hide that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. So let me take this super chat real quick. Somebody said, Flash, I'm jealous of you right now. The energy and care that Reuben puts into voicing Dante is just God tier.
God tier?
Yeah, somebody just said your voice. Yeah, your voicing skills are God tier, bro.
All right. Well, that's my first God tier I've ever gotten.
Everyone's loving that game, man.
Yeah.
I knew making it. So enough about Guatemala, but making it. I knew when we were making it, the story and the love and the passion that Itsuno-san and the team were putting into it. I knew for sure it was going to become. It was going to go down in history as a fan favorite. I knew it was going to be awesome, And then along the way, we did the mocap over 2 years ago, like about 2.5 years ago. And then the voiceover over a year ago, and we would slowly see little sneak peeks of the game development and where it's happening, how's it coming along, and I knew literally from day one that it was going to be a fan favorite, and that Capcom had they're sitting on gold because of the 10-year plus of comments and fan questions, and we saw how well the reboot, we saw how well that did, obviously, amongst fans and everything else. So it was just sort of a knowing that this was going to do really well. And sure enough, yeah, it's out, and Itsuno-san poured so much. He always does. Every project he touches, he just puts so much love into these projects, and and he was. Well, I don't even know if I can say this, but why not? He was ready to leave Capcom. He was not happy.
Wow.
And I think he even put in his resignation, and then they said, okay, wait, you're a valuable guy. We don't want you to leave. What can make you stay? And he said, all right, I got my wish list. And sort of Devil May Cry was the top of the wish list. And he said, I'll stay if you give me Devil May Cry and you let me do it the way I want to do it, and not, the BS stuff that you guys did before with the other thing. And they, hats off to him for standing up, and hats off for Capcom for going all out. And they literally gave him everything he requested and wanted for this game, and it's paying off.
Yeah, I mean, it totally is. I mean, I know ever since you first voiced Dante in 3, I mean, even though you weren't the first voice for him,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people, you're now synonymous with it, man. I mean, that's the way people say it's just like, it's Reuben, you know what I mean?
Well, the 3, we broke new ground in 3 when we, and Itsuno-san was part of that. He sort of, 2, he wasn't really proud of. He was brought in to rush it through, and he didn't have the time and the budget and the schedule and resources. And then and then they came about with 3, and he said, well, again, at that time, years ago, he was like, well, if we're going to do it, we got to do it my way. And that's one of the great things about working with him is he's his way is everybody's way. He's not like it has to be this way. It has to be a group collaborative project, and he's very he's such a team player when it comes to bringing people on and then letting us all do our stuff, you know, do what we're all good at. And he just lets he brought us in for we pitched to Capcom to do the mocap and the voice with the same person. So full performance capture before full performance capture was even a thing. The only thing at that time, we didn't have the facilities to do full performance capture because the audio, most of the mocap stations, mocap facilities at that time didn't have the soundproofing. But we were pitching, hey, you'd get a much better effect if you had the same person doing the mocap as the voice and doing the whole, you know, the whole package with the same actor. You're going to get a better effect. It's going to be closer to film and television and more realistic, and than trying to, you know, piecemeal it or have a Japanese performer do the mocap in the old way. So in Devil May Cry 1 and 2, it was Japanese performers doing the mocap, and then they would dub it over with an English voiceover actor. And you sort of had this mismatch. I call it the bad kung fu movie effect, where it doesn't quite, you know, match up. Nothing against the Japanese performances. The Japanese mocap actors did a great job. It's just it doesn't match up when you start to localize it, when you start to put it into English and try to put it out there for an international audience. It just doesn't match up. And that was something I realized way back in the day when we started my company. And we pitched to Capcom and other game companies, Konami, that we can help out by holding casting sessions in the States and getting actors from the States and bringing them to Japan to do the motion capture and the voice.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, that was way back in the day. And then we just continued that with, you know, when Itsuno-san was, you know, when we were getting ready to do 4, it was sort of the same thing. And then 5, he was like, yeah, let's bring the old team back together and let's just do it like we always are used to doing it.
Yeah. Well, that makes more sense because I mean, it's literally, it's more, you know, it's more of a performance that way. An actual, like, you actually are playing the character. It's you completely, you know, just, you know, the physical and the voice together. So, you know, I know exactly what you mean with the whole. It makes sense, you know, with the whole the kung fu movie analogy. I think is a good one to make in comparison. So, let's get a couple of these questions. There's people asking you questions here, so I don't want them to feel like they're being ignored here. This transient Tiefling is asking, Reuben, what was it like to come back to the role of Dante after 11 years?
Well, technically it wasn't quite 11 years because, you know, I had small bits in like Marvel versus Capcom and then the anime thing. And then there was other little small projects here and there that it sort of kept me going, you know, kept the Dante feel alive for me. So, but to answer the question in, you know, in this form and fashion, in a full game and being the star of the game.
So you didn't voice the hipster Dante?
No.
Okay, I skipped that one.
Yeah, there you go. With good reason, right?
Yeah, that was not. I didn't get called for that one. I wouldn't have done it that way. You know, that's just not the way I would have done it.
This is a horrible idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, again, at the time, you know, Capcom they're a great company, and I give them props for always trying something new, but you know, I also kind of am a little critical of them and saying, hey guys, if it's not broken, why try to fix it? And they tend to do that with a lot of their IPs. Is they kind of think, oh, we need to do this just to be different, just to do something different. And that mentality is great if you're trying to innovate and step up your game. But if you already have a strong fan base and you've got, you know, all of this following and successful IP, why are you screwing with that? Why are you screwing in with it in a way that's going to really like just kick you in the butt? And Capcom, unfortunately, you know, they've been kicked in the butt over the years several times trying these new things out. And I was one of the butt kickers for them. And now they're going back. Well, Devil May Cry 3 actually was sort of a new thing for them too, because it was taking a different take on the character, right? And I remember that was my first sort of major video game VO main role in a project like that. I got all kinds of crap before the game came out. People were like, "Who the hell is this Reuben Langdon guy? What a poser! He sucks. Blah blah blah. We want the original guy. How come this?" I remember seeing this. I'm like, "Oh Jesus, wow!" So, Capcom took. They went out on a limb to trying something different, just to put me into that role and to do the mocap and stuff with our company. So I give them props for trying new stuff. And that was sort of a new take on the character, this crazy younger version of Dante that's a little bit, not as cool, a little bit hot-headed as and that kind of thing, which for the benefit worked out great. Look at the game and people loved it, and it turned out really well. And those trolls didn't last long once the game came out. But I sort of went off on this tangent. I sort of forgot where I was going, but basically Capcom makes some really strange decisions sometimes. It's hard to follow them. Love them because they've employed me all these years. But at the same time, it's like, guys, listen to your fans. Your fans are the ones that are paying your bills. So you got to listen to them. And be edgy, try something new, but don't alienate your fan base.
Yeah.
And that's I've seen that happen over and over with the various IPs that they've played around with.
No, they've luckily been going back. They've been going, like you said, back to basics. That Mega Man game that came out recently was great, and then Resident Evil 2 was really good. I saw because I looked at some stuff. I saw, what did you do in that game? It's additional voices. I didn't know you worked on that.
Yeah, I worked on and off during the production for the cinematics, just doing zombies and characters getting shot. And I'm sort of like, and stunt coordinating. I was the stunt coordinator for the cinematic scenes. So any kind of minor stunts. It wasn't major stuff, but just sort of helping coordinate the zombie deaths and attacks and all that stuff.
Yeah, did a good job. That game is amazing.
Yeah. For surprisingly, because that one was pretty hectic as far as the schedule and I remember they had we had shot maybe half the cinematics, and then they completely axed. They rewrote the whole thing, scrapped all the scenes except for like one or two of them that we had done, and then we had to go back and reshoot all the other cinematics. I wasn't involved as a producer on that one. I was just in the back seat, just watching it. But my old partner was helping to produce that, and I remember he was just having a really tough time with the scheduling and all the changes and all that stuff. Where Devil May Cry sort of went really smooth.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's good what you mentioned earlier about knowing what the fans want, because I think that seems to be a problem with a lot of different media these days, especially, when producers or even some of the other voice actors involved, they don't see that, they're not in touch with what fans might actually want to see in these games or these animes or whatever it is that whatever project that is that they're working on. They don't necessarily understand the fan base. I think Yellow could attest to that, because I know Yellow's he's very much into anime and seeing a lot of the way that some of these voice actors act out, and think that they might know better, when they actually really don't. They're not really all that familiar with what makes what they're doing, such a good and appealing thing to most people.
Yeah, the stuff with Vic Mignogna has really shown a lot of people's colors. I can tell you that.
Yeah, you mentioned I've been out of the loop. Pardon me, I'm grabbing my coffee. I got it. I've been sort of out of the loop with with Vic. I haven't been in touch with him. I've been in, getting shot at in Guatemala and doing my documentary stuff. I've been hanging out in Japan. But
Fighting for your life.
I've worked with him on the Star Trek series, and had a great time. And every time we talk, he's always been super awesome dude. So, Jonathan, you sort of mentioned there was something going on. Can you just bring the audience up to speed on what?
Well, actually, Yellow has done way more extensive research into all that's been going on with that particular situation. So really, a lot of what I was here, because when all that news first broke, I was kind of on the cusp of it in the sense of kind of a certain degrees of separation from it, because he was actually a guest at one of the sister shows that I'm affiliated with. So, I had heard, these rumblings, people, saying things like that, but really, Yellow, I think, probably has a bit more insight. I actually learned a lot of the things that I learned about that particular situation was actually from watching Yellow's videos, and just kind of here and there, just kind of touching base, throwing out certain messages and stuff with him, but mostly from his content and other people that are really like doggedly covering this whole situation. I mean, when the internet community comes together, man, I mean, they dig deep for info, man.
First and foremost, from my knowledge, every time I've done many convention appearances with Vic, he is like so for his fans. Like he will, and I've learned a lot from him actually, because he will, his signing the line out the door, and even though the time limit for the room or whatever has been cut off, and the conventions try to boot him out, and he's like, no, I'm gonna sign every. For every fan, I'm gonna be here and take pictures and sign, and he's always been like super for the fans. He's always been that guy, and I learned a lot, from just watching his interaction. So it's always been a positive sort of role model in my sense. I don't know what's going on?
Yellow, do you want? Well, before you get into that, Yellow, because I know Yellow definitely knows way more about the going-ons with the situation than me, because he was really on the forefront of really bringing a lot of that information to light here on YouTube. So, but before we get to that, Yellow, let me hit up these super chats real quick so people don't think we're ignoring them. Let's see. Intimidator says, "Hey, Yellow Flash, you Hero Hey, that umbrella guy, Nick Ricada, I'd love to meet you in person at an anime convention someday." Let's see. $5 from the legendary Devil Hunter Dante says, "Reuben, you, Johnny, and Dan did such amazing work. DMC5 on DMC5 and 3 voiced a big part of my childhood / teenage years. Thank you for that." Nice. And let's see. We have there's another super chat in here I'd seen. Hold on. I'm gonna have to find that one. Here it goes. Cookie Kiko says, "Hey, Reuben, will you be doing a UFO documentary?"
I've got a few in the works, actually. So I don't know which one in particular. Maybe I could just sort of segue into a little bit of that really quick, and I don't want to get too far off our subject here. But no, I'm working. I've got a series actually coming out on Gaia. I don't know if you know the Gaia Network, which is sort of like spiritual Netflix. I call it, yoga.
Netflix. Nah, I'm not familiar with it.
So it's basically it's an on-demand channel, similar, a subscription-based channel like Netflix, and they have a huge library of a lot of yoga videos, right? So if you ever want to go and do yoga, you just get a Gaia subscription, and you got every type of yoga access that you could possibly want. But my series Interview with Ed, Extra Dimensionals, which is sort of an off topic of the UFO thing, that is going to start airing on Gaia on the 20th. So 5 more days.
All right.
So check it out there. It's already available on Vimeo on demand. I sort of have been self-distributing that for several years now, but the Gaia Network was awesome, and they've picked it up, and they're sort of going to repackage it and put it out there in their own way. So if you have a Gaia subscription already, then that's going to be a super easy access thing. I have another documentary in the works that's sort of about me and my message when it comes to the whole UFO thing, which, you know, I don't want to again sabotage this talk into UFO talk too much, but just so your listeners, just give a quick little background. So in addition to being, you know, an actor, performer, motion capture, stunt guy, and all this stuff, for over 10 years I've been a pretty hardcore researcher into ufology, the extraterrestrial, the idea of extraterrestrials, where they come from, you know, government cover-ups, as far as I produced this event called the Citizen Hearing on Disclosure, which was 5 days at the National Press Club in 2013. To date, still the largest body of evidence on the UFO ET subject. In one setting, we had it was a mock congressional hearing with 6 former members of Congress, 1 senator, and over 40 witnesses, mostly ex-military government folks, like big guys from the military, basically saying the UFO phenomenon is real. And since then, we've had a lot more confirmations from the U.S. government. And if you watch the news at all, pretty much every week there's a new news segment, a little 5-minute clip or something, basically talking about how we are being engaged by some sort of higher intelligence. They're not calling them UFOs, they're not calling them ETs, they're calling them, we don't know, you know. But basically, it's this some higher intelligence that's able to have technology that's way beyond anything we have in the human realm, like even black ops or anything like that. So I've been in this space, investigating, researching, creating documentaries for over a decade, and it's sort of this other hat that I wear. And I'm continuing. I'm making a documentary called Imminent Encounters, that's sort of explaining the how it's imminent. It's imminent that we are going to have contact on a mass global scale, despite your belief system at this point. You know, there's so much evidence, and there's so many disclosures happening on a daily basis from our governments and from even in the private sector, that it's no longer. My buddy Jeremy Corbell has a great quote. We no longer have the luxury of disbelief. So it's coming, and it's just a matter of when. And I just keep producing projects in that space to get everybody ready. And it's not some kind of alien invasion, and it's not the end of the world or anything like that. It's going to be quite positive. We just have to get to that mindset. So that's enough of my spiel on the
No, it's all good, man. Because I know we had when you came to Ranger Stop a couple years back, I remember your panel, you know, we had a pretty good discussion about stuff like that. So, I mean, I find it fascinating. I mean, I'm you know, my view on alien life is probably a little bit different, or it might be the same, actually, depending on how you want to look at it. But I think it's fine, man. I mean, I don't think there's anything crazy about that. So
yeah, it's sort of a slow drip. So there's a lot of belief systems out there that the idea of an extraterrestrial or extra dimensional or whatever label you want to put on it sort of conflicts with a lot of religious beliefs.
Yeah. Well, not the first one.
Was that?
Not the first one. Back in like Mesopotamia and stuff.
Yeah.
It seems like it all revolves around that. And then there's a lot of stuff. I hear what you're saying. Like, especially in like our art.
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of religion talking about star people and stuff.
If you look at all the indigenous, you know, and that's a big part of my, you know, going to the Mayans, elders and Chief Phil and like the Hopi, that like all of the indigenous teachings, they basically talk about the star people. So it's, you know, it's definitely an ancient history that's not written, right? This is in all of our written history. Of course, we're not talking about this stuff. It's taboo, but it's there. It's in our face, and it's hard to deny it. And I think the powers that are coming in, they all know this. You know, they're all aware of this imminent encounters type situation. But again, to sort of keep the status quo and to keep people from freaking out, it's a nice slow drip. Let's let the information out little by little and get the masses used to the idea, and not scared, because we don't want panic. Because, you know, and this all goes back to the War of the Worlds scenario, right? The Orson Welles radio show that sort of was like a science fiction thing, but in a way it was sort of, I've heard that it was actually an actual test to see how the public would react. And, you know, there was riots, there was people dying because they thought it was really happening. The War of the Worlds, this thing was happening. So that a lot of governments go back to the Orson Welles War of the Worlds scenario when they talk about the subject, because it is frightening for them. Because, you know, what if our economy were to come to a screeching halt because there's these big ships in the sky, right? And we've seen all the movies and all the different scenarios. Arrival, what a great a movie that was. That sort of, you know, there's all this fear around the idea. So I think the mission for a lot of these bigger governmental agencies and stuff is to slowly slow drip this information and get people used to it. I've had support from the military and from other groups that have been helping to get the information out in a palatable way, in a non-fear-based way. So it's we'll see how it all goes. But I think there's just a lot of very rigid belief systems on the planet right now that don't allow for it, and that's why it's not in our faces. Because the last thing,
the Vatican.
The Vatican, well, and look at the Vatican. Look at how they've changed their views on ETs over the years. You know, they've even come out and said, "Well, ETs are real, and they don't even need to be baptized or whatever, because they're not carrying any of Earth's original sins." You know, there was some talk that came out about that. So there's a lot of those belief systems that people would sort of freak out, you know, if that would happen. It's a much different era now than it was just 5 years ago. And then I think we'll see in another 5 years, it's going to be another different, conversation.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Well, let me get these super chats real quick, and then Yellow, you can go ahead and kind of explain the situation. Okay, so
I was enjoying the alien talk.
Oh, we can go back to that too. We can do that too. It's all good. I mean, I find that stuff all fascinating because, again, I'm not a person that just because I'm a person of faith, that also is why I believe in the possibility of other life as well. Because I mean, if people are, because I look at it like this: when I've seen other Christian folks say something like, "Oh, aliens, that's ridiculous." Well, I mean, how is that any more ridiculous than angels and demons? You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
so to me, I mean, I believe in the possibility, of course. If I believe in angels, demons, hell, heaven, you know what I mean? There's no reason for me not to believe in the possibility that there could also be life outside of that.
And going, again, just the last icing on the cake here, the more research I've been doing into this field, this phenomenon of UFOs, ETs, it's actually, what we perceive as extraterrestrials in our Star Trek and all these other, TV shows. What the phenomenon, I think, lends itself, it's actually closer to an angel and demon phenomenon than in our understanding of sort of extra dimensional. And this is why my show is extra dimensionals. It's called extra dimensionals as opposed to extraterrestrials, because what our understanding of what reality is, as far as a space and time, and in a linear sense, and how these things work. I think as we develop our science and understand things, this phenomenon, I think, lends itself closer to our understanding of an angel than demon phenomenon than an actual what we perceive ETs are right now. So absolutely, I think that's the direction it's going to be going. The conversation should be going that direction. And just like, in our heavens and hell, there are good and bad entities out there. So there's very well could be and are, I should say, they already are nefarious, not so nice extraterrestrials, if you want to say. But at the same time, I think our planet is being protected, and there's sort of talk of, in my interviews, of a quarantine, and there's a lot of benevolent energies that have been engaging and still are, and are really trying to interact with us in a benevolent way as opposed to a malevolent way. And that's, you can just see that with the evidence where everything is going here. So if these entities, dimensional beings, truly were here to rape and pillage us, we would have been raped and pillaged and gone. There would be no Earth right now.
What about in the past? Do you think so? I always like the late Bronze Age, when we had that big collapse. Do you think anything of that with that is connected to that?
I think throughout our entire history, there's been encounters and engagement with this phenomenon, but I wouldn't give all of our power to that phenomenon, saying that that's the sole reason of a civilization collapse, or that's the sole reason of a civilization thriving. A lot of people say, oh, the pyramids were built by ETs and all this stuff. And I think we give, just because we can't figure out how humans did it, we say, oh, it must be the ETs, right? The alien guy, what's his name? George Sikros or whatever. It's aliens,
Yeah.
It's just some crazy stuff that happened. Like, I've seen these documentaries where they're like, there was literally a town up on this hill, like on a mountain, and they had to go through like all of these crazy routes to get to it. Literally, like there was like 1 foot of a stepping stairway and all this. And it was camouflaged in the mountain. It was nuts. It's like people are really going out of their way to like stay hidden for a long time.
I mean, I definitely think there's a lot of influence, and even in the Mayan, the Mayan elder Tata, who I interviewed just a few weeks ago, in the Mayan culture, they all have the belief that agriculture and their ceremonial stuff all came from the Pleiades star system. Beings that their history, basically, they have these sort of scrolls that they said that the Pleiades, beings from the Pleiades, came down and gave them this knowledge. They're known as the timekeepers with the Mayan calendar and how all that works. And that was just given to them by beings from the Pleiades. And you have this same with the Hopi tribes and other indigenous cultures. All talk about the star peoples coming down and helping. As opposed to, doing things for the humans. And I think that's a big part of this. Is this is where I disagree with George, is I think these energies, and this gets closer to the sort of the angel demon phenomenon. There's these energies that come in throughout our time from other dimensions that are here to help us in our evolution. And then there are other energies that are here to put us back in our evolution. But to give away our power and say, oh, well, it's all the aliens or it's all that, I think that's a sort of a cop out for humanity. And I think we've done some amazing things in the past that we can't explain, but a lot of that knowledge has been forgotten because of maybe some of this nefarious energy has come in to make us forget. Or influence us to forget, I should say.
That's where we lost a lot of it, was in the Bronze Age.
Yeah.
From that transition to the Dark Age. I think a lot of that stuff is at the Vatican, personally. That weird,
the Vatican has a lot.
Weird library that no one can go see. And then if you want to see what's in there, you have to know what's in there or something and go through all these loopholes. It's crazy.
Watch, if you get a chance, watch some of the citizen hearing. We had the lawyer who was the lawyer for the Jesuit. And he actually testified that he went into the library and got records and saw all this UFO stuff and wrote down some symbols and snuck out some symbol documents through some guards. He was able to sort of get some of the information out. But they're definitely sitting on a large library of stuff.
I think that's a crime against humanity, to be honest.
It is.
We can't see it.
It is, and guess what? This is why you're seeing the fall of the Vatican right now, with all of the pedophilia stuff that's coming out. So, there's a lot of this stuff that's been hidden from humanity, and the manipulation and the the evil doings going on behind the scenes. We're entering an age where transparency rules, and this sort of the bad actors, the bad apples, aren't going to be able to continue to do what they do, and it's happening right before us. And at the same time, it seems like it's the end of the world, but it seems that way is because these, I gave this analogy in another interview. These bad apples, these bad actors, are literally drowning. Like they're being annihilated from this plane of existence. So whenever you're drowning somebody, they're gonna kick and scream, and they're gonna try to do everything in their power to stay afloat. And if they don't care about people around them, which these energies, these nasty people don't, they're not gonna go out. They're not gonna go screaming, or they're not gonna go quietly into the dark night, right? They're gonna kick and scream and do everything in their power to cause a ruckus, and that's what we're seeing right now. That this sort of all this chaos that we're seeing in our world is these energies being eradicated from the planet, or I should say, maybe a better term would be transmuted, transitioned. They're and because these energies can't coexist in the new energy, this new age that we're moving into. We're moving into a new renaissance with technology and ways of doing things and transparency and blockchain technology, everything else. It's all about to hit hard, and everything in these old systems are disappearing.
Wow, that's crazy stuff. I mean, how does the saying go? What's in the darkness eventually comes into the light. So,
exactly.
So, I mean,
and that's what we're going through.
Yeah, no, I could kind of see that too. Let me get some of these super chats in real quick, because I know people want to have their questions answered. So Ichihime90 says, Reuben, who came up with the idea of the motorcycle weapon in DMC5?
That was Itsuno-san. I think it's something he wanted to do way back. And I forgot the guy's name. So he actually, for the motorcycle, and so for some of the other mech stuff, he actually got the mech designer of the Valkyrie, of the Robotech Macross Valkyrie. I don't. Is that the name of it? What's it called?
Yeah. The big ship is called the Super Dimensional Fortress 1, and then the smaller like jet planes that transform into the robots are the Valkyries.
The Valkyries, right? So the Valkyrie designer, right? This guy's a legend in Japan. He's amazing. Issa-san's a huge fan of Macross or Robotech, and he hired the guy to come up with a lot of the mech designs, or all of the mech designs, I think, in the game, including the motorcycle and how it comes apart and turns into a weapon and all that stuff. So hats off for Itsuno-san for getting him on board and making some cool stuff.
Thank you, Itsuno-san. All right. All right, we got another $5 donation from Galstar. I hope the Vic drama won't scare you or other VAs from meeting us fans at conventions. Okay, so I think that's probably a good segue back to you there, Flash, because like I said, Flash was kind of at the beginning of everything that's been going on with this, and it's been really diligent and on top of it with the information. So Flash, you have the floor, man.
Yeah. In a nutshell, what's been going on here?
I guess the TLDR is that right as Dragon Ball Super Broly dropped, you got a lot of these people that are connected to this old Channel Awesome thing. I don't know if you know what that is. It's a YouTube network.
Okay.
And they're all kind of nobodies now, and a lot of them seem to have been conspiring to kind of just get him out of there. And they started this thing. Oh, all of these allegations against Vic and these unwanted hugs and stuff. This is the big thing that it's all about, is him hugging fans without consent. So now, like, people are using that and saying that it's like this big sexual assault, and women are coming out and like putting these like stories out, but a lot of them have been debunked because of a lot of work that people have been putting out. And still, you have people writing articles that are connected to each other. It's like a collusion. And he's got a lawyer now, and they're going to fire. It's looking like they're going to go after a lot of these voice actors who seem to have been conspiring to get him out of there. And the thing that we're hearing was because of the big religious thing and wanting accommodations at cons for his religion. And there's just, I don't know. I can't say 100%, you know, that some of these, I don't know if some of these stories are true or not, but it's like the man didn't get any due process. All he had were people come out on Twitter showing photos of him hugging them at cons and saying that they didn't want this like 15 years ago. And, you know, once you got one person doing it, more people start coming out, and they're coming out like anonymously and stuff. Like there's no connection in this. Now the man's life is over.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Kavanaugh hearing.
Yeah, it's a lot like it.
And you know, again, I don't know Kavanaugh, so I can't speak for or against him. But what I think is, you know, this Me Too movement it started off as this amazing movement, and I'm all for uplifting women, and I do believe that women just, you know, have gone through centuries of just being, you know, thrown under the bus and just not being acknowledged and being respected. And I'm all about the divine feminine and really uplifting women in our society. But what happens is with, you know, Black Lives Matter, Me Too movement, these movements get sort of hijacked when they the motives start going a little too far, and then logic goes out the window, and you start getting people, you know, talking about hugs, being sexually harassed because of a hug. And that's just like, guys, this is, again, I don't have enough information on this whole thing to
really it take like 10 minutes to run through everything in detail. There's a lot that's happened, but the basics of it are that, like, you've got these, like, there's like Monica Rial is one of the big ones, and who else? Jamie Marchi, and there's like videos of them like being best friends for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it's just like there was just a flip one day. It just doesn't smell right or sit right with me and a lot of people.
Here's where we need to sort of pull in the reins on a lot of this stuff. Is first of all, the past is the past, and we need to this is going to sound really bad, and some people are going to take this the wrong way, but we need to let go of the past, and we need to move forward with a new mindset, a new set of eyes, a new way of doing things. And because there's been some real, I mean, look, going back into the Vatican and the whole talk about that. And a lot of these priests have done horrendous things, and, you know, this whole idea of punishing and getting these people, you know, this whole planet, let me just tell you, this whole planet is guilty of all kinds of things. And what we need to learn and do and move forward is learn how to forgive, not forget, not forget, but forgiveness is one of the key aspects of the documentary I'm making. It's one of, you know, the key teachings in many religions, especially in Christianity. And forgiveness is the only thing that's going to really get us through a lot of this stuff. And then moving forward, after forgiveness, it's empowering the individual to learn how to say no. And it's hard when it comes to kids, because the kids are the most vulnerable, and this is where the crimes against our children are really, you know, it's hard to say, how do you forgive something like that? But unfortunately, the only way we're going to get through this is the children are going to have to understand that these men who were in these positions just were insane, right, and out of their minds. And there's a great story of the genocides that happened in South Africa or in Africa. Desmond Tutu and who's the other he passed away now, but basically they had trials, and in the trials it was basically the forgiveness and reconciliation trials, where the people guilty had to look at the families, the family members, the people that they killed, and they had to basically forgive the family members had to forgive the people who killed them, and the people who killed them had to basically ask for forgiveness. And moving forward, and I know I'm going on a tangent here, but this is where all this stuff with the Me Too and the Black Lives Matter, it's a constant. It's never going to end. It's just going to constantly be. We're going to be throwing people under the bus, and it just creates more conflict. It creates more of what we've already been through, and we need to like start telling ourselves a new story and start moving forward in a new way. And yes or no, I don't know. I know Vic, and I know he is a very touchy-feely guy, and I've seen him interact with women in that way, but I've also seen women say no thanks, and he's very much, I respect that, thank you very much. So I feel that a lot of people just need to learn to just stand up and just say, if they don't feel comfortable with somebody, no thank you, and then we move on. And there's just all kinds of people on this planet, and as long as we can all respect each other's space and everything else, we won't have these issues. But I don't know. I have a hard time believing Vic would go any further than a hug in a lot of these cases. So
Yeah.
That's the common theme. He has a lot of support. The backlash to this whole, they call it the Kick Vic movement, has been it's been pretty amazing and impressive. We raised $102,000. I haven't looked at the GoFundMe, but there's a GoFundMe for his legal fees right now, over $100,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
People really, really came together for him.
That's great.
I think it's a lot of his fans, but in some ways, from like what you're talking about, he's like a linchpin, as people are just sick of this Me Too movement, because there's just people's lives are getting destroyed over just nothing but an allegation. There's no due process. The court of a public opinion is not a court of law.
Well, this is why I had, I was when it came to the Kavanaugh hearings, a lot of people were, throwing Kavanaugh under the bus. And again, I don't know the guy. He probably is guilty to some extent on a lot of things, but just that whole thing and how it was unfolding was, no due process. Where's your evidence? And then you have to look at the bigger picture. Why is this happening now? Why is all of this stuff happening now? And we're not going to heal there's a lot of, we can't ignore the problem. Okay. So this is a huge problem, whether Vic's guilty or not. Again, we all are sort of pro Vic here, but just the fact that people are going to these extremes to try to throw him under the bus, to kick him out of this industry or whatever, which means, again, whether he's guilty or not, there is some major trauma and pain that is in the collective consciousness, that's in the humanity's being right now. And we're not going to heal that energy by throwing Vic under the bus and kicking him out. Like the way we're going to deal with this is to realistically and sanely look at the problem, acknowledge that there's a problem. So let's not say that there isn't a problem, because that's not going to heal it either. So, but let's look at it for what it really is. Same thing with the Kavanaugh hearings. What is really happening here on a bigger issue? Why are all these women coming out now? And there is truth to their allegations. And I'm not saying truth in the sense of that Vic is guilty in any sense, but I'm just saying that the women in general, for way too long, way too long, have been taken advantage of, have been disempowered, and that needs to stop. And that's what we need to look at. And we need to look at areas where we all individually and collectively can help heal that wound. And we're not going to heal it by throwing Vic under the bus. We're not going to heal it by throwing anybody under the bus. And this goes into that forgiveness aspect that I was just talking about. And then the next steps is, okay, yes, men on this planet have been, for thousands of years, have been horrible. You know, the reason we're in the mess we're in with our environmental issues, with political, governmental, we have water issues, we have, just everything in so many ways. The medical, the big pharma, all of this stuff is just because, I hate to say it, is because of an over masculine energy. This masculine energy has been way too strong, non-empathetic, but we can heal that, not by more masculine energy. And that's what this is. The whole extreme Me Too movement, the extreme Black Lives Matter movement, this is the same masculine energy going the other direction on the pendulum. And we need to reel in it all in and just balance it all out here and really honor the feminine for what it is and empower the feminine. And by putting blame and playing victim, you're just disempowering yourself. You're disempowering, you're creating the same issues that we've been going in cycles over and over again.
Well, I think in many ways, I think in a lot of ways it also like hurts women, because it brings, like I was saying the other day, like in one of my videos, like, I don't know if I would want to work, if I had the option to work with a male or a female on something, I would probably want to work with the male, because I would have to be worried, like if I offend this woman or if she doesn't like me, it'd be sure as hell really easy for her to get rid of me. It's like it puts something in the back of my mind with people now. And I think
exactly. That's the whole other extreme of this this whole energy, right? And the swinging of the pendulum, I call it, is exactly that. Now you're basically the female, the women are becoming men, if you can look at it from that perspective, because the energy behind that, this over empowering, right, where the women now can basically call sexual harassment on a dime and do whatever. Now they have all this power that the men used to have, but now it's in their camp. And that's not the right way to approach this. The way to approach this is to have a balanced, harmonized energy between both men and women, because we need this on this planet. This is, if you look into anything in nature, this is how nature thrives, is the sun, the masculine sun energy comes in and feeds, all the plant life and gives lots of nice energy. And then the water, the feminine water comes in and, gives lots of waters to the plants. And then you have the whole, all the stuff that happens in nature.
There's the nurturing.
Yeah. And it's all naturally balanced in that way. And because one is feeding the other and the other's feeding the other. And it's this sort of closed loop system.
Yeah, more of a symbiotic relationship.
Symbiotic relationship, which humanity has to a certain extent, but we've gotten away from that in so many ways. And it's not that one is better than the other. It's this truly, one cannot exist without the other.
Yeah.
And we need to really honor that. And this is why I'm doing the work I'm doing when it comes to the indigenous teachings and the ET stuff, is because that's primary messages. And if we go back into even our scriptures and our ancient texts in all the religions, they all talk about the balance in this as well. So it's just, a lot of it is just, we've gotten away from that with our consumerism and our material world. We've forgotten about the spirit aspect of what the construct of this reality, and again, that's an over masculine. The mind is a masculine aspect. The heart is feminine. So we need to balance that out, and it's mind, body, spirit, right? Is in all these teachings. They talk about the Trinity and how that all coexists in a nice coherent way, as opposed to this over mind, over masculine, going direct, going so balls to walls, kind of idea.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point to leave right there with the how the heart is, as opposed to the other things of Trinity. And it's with that particular situation, because I've been a person, obviously I have a pretty unique perspective looking on from kind of from the outside. Like I said, when I first initially even talked to you about it, Reuben, when I was just kind of like letting you know the things that I was learning as everything was going down. But I think you're onto something for sure when you say, it's part of it is because of the other things we have in the world that are kind of, keeping us, from the things that matter most. But, going back to that, like I said, looking at it from the outside, it's something that, like, I don't know. You obviously know Vic personally. I don't. I've seen him at conventions. I've seen him at other conventions. I've never seen anything. I've witnessed him obviously from a distance out of the conventions. Never have actually met him. So obviously, I have no dog in the fight in the sense of any kind of emotion either way. I obviously don't have any ill will towards him. But me learning this stuff, from watching like Flash's videos and just from kind of, again, being kind of behind the scenes as one of the convention, being kind of affiliated with one of the conventions, from a distance, because I'm not a part of the Ranger Stop Atlanta staff. That's actually a different staff from the main show, from the Orlando show, the one that you came to. But seeing it from like, being kind of certain degrees of separation away from it, and kind of seeing it unfold like that, I didn't like it, because I was just like, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because I'm like, well, okay, I don't know too much. I know that Vic is a voice actor. He's very popular. He did Full Metal Alchemist, and I know he had just done the Broly movie and things like that. So I knew of him, but then like when I was seeing these things start to come out, and stuff like that, I always thought to myself, looking at it, well, okay, so we're hearing these stories from people, saying he did this, that, or the other. There's no police reports out there. There's no formal complaints filed. There's not even, I don't think anybody's even come forward with a story of an angry parent confronting them at a show. Nothing, so it's no pictures, and in this digital age, and this is the crazy thing. I think this to me is one of the most telling things, although people might say otherwise. This is just my opinion. What's crazy to me in the age we're in right now, right, where everybody, just about everybody on the planet, or anywhere where they can afford it, has a smartphone. You're telling me there's not a single screenshot of maybe a bizarre, interaction in text or anything like that? There's nothing like that out there, and usually people they jump at the chance to, I hate to say it, but to be able to have a degree of dirt on people, but there's not even anything like that out there.
One thing I forgot to point out on this was a lot of these things that are come out against him are, I heard from a friend that told me another story from a friend from that friend. They're all like telephone game stories. And then one of the, speaking of the accusations, that where's the proof? One of the stories that came out was that he was apparently in the middle of the con during the busy hours, was making out with a 14-year-old girl at his booth in front of everybody.
Oh yeah, in front of everybody, and nobody had a cell phone.
Yeah. Exactly, and nobody. That's the other thing too. You would think that obviously, if somebody sees something that could be, salacious, or something that they could use as a means to be like, gotcha, that they would take advantage of that and do it. Because there's people that do it even if they're not sure they're going to do anything with, certain information they might get, right? So it's just like.
This is, and I hate to break politics in this, and I've mentioned Kavanaugh a few times, but this is what's so funny, in the whole Russian collusion thing. And it's, how many 2.5 years we've been going on Russian collusion, and yet there's been no evidence there. So we're in this era of let's just make up a bunch of stuff and throw people under the bus. And if we get it out there in the media and we get enough people to believe it, then that's all we need. And we're sort of in that same energy. It's the same, Kavanaugh hearings, Russian collusion. It's the same kind of energy. And I know a lot of people are going to, what, Reuben, is he a Trump supporter? And is he going to, what the hell? I don't know. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm not a Trump hater either. I'm a logical person, and I look at evidence, and I look at, and this is why my whole ET thing, and people are like, what ETs? That's crazy. I'm like, well, I've seen the evidence. I've been on the ground. I'm doing the research, been in this hardcore. So you just can't, we're in this day and age where it's, you can basically make up anything you want, put it on the internet, and it's real. It's a fact, right? People buy it they make it the gospel truth, but that's not the truth.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing with it. It's just, I can understand, nobody, I don't think anybody is going to tell these people. It's just like, if you feel a certain way about something, that's fine. But, looking on everything, I think people need to be very careful with how they're even perceiving these situations, because, like, I think, Yellow mentioned it briefly earlier, when you have these situations where people are talking about, they're trying to equate a feeling of discomfort to somebody that's actually gone through an actual traumatic experience. And it's kind of one of those, it's a slippery slope, because then you have somebody basically equating themselves to that other person, and it kind of trivializes what the person who actually went through a legit trauma and something really bad, it kind of trivializes what they went through a little bit.
And the biggest thing is they call you, if you disagree with the narrative, well, it's easy to just dismiss you because now you're an alt-right Nazi. Like, I've been called an alt-right Nazi like 5 or 6 times now since I've been defending Vic. And they just, like, I've never even talked about politics really on my channel. I talk about, like, my dislike of outrage culture for sure is a big theme. But, like, I've never said this is how I voted. But, just because I disagree with the narrative, they try to throw me in some corner, and that's what they do with everybody. They just want to dehumanize you. So it's okay to go punch that Nazi. And not really human.
And here's where we have to be very careful, guys, is because those they out there that are, calling everybody Nazis and doing this, they are in a lot of pain, just as much as, the people going through this stuff, so Vic as well. And in all hate crimes of any sense, it's people do things because they are not getting supported. So what we have to be careful is, instead of throwing them back under the bus, throwing the theys that are calling us Nazis, we have to stop. We have to, okay, this is where this stops right here. And we have to look at it and say, okay, and I hate to say this, but these are the people that need the most hugs. These are the people that we just need to, give them a hug and say, look, it's okay. And maybe they'll some sexual allegations may come of that, but it's okay. I don't care. We just need to embrace these people. And a lot of people, again, I'll bring this up. One of the key messages of Q that I really enjoy is he always ends with, they always end with, where we go on, we go all. And doesn't matter what political party, what religious belief you are in, we're all in this together. We're all on the planet together here. And we need to stand up for Vic. We need to stand up for our rights. We need to stand up for everybody. We need to stand up for the women, especially for the women. We need to stand up for them because of all of the tragedies that have gone on for so long. But we also need to embrace each other. And by standing up does not mean throwing anybody else under the bus. We've been doing that for way too long. And we need to just, like, put an end to it all and just say, look, I know you're hurting, but this is not the way to do this. And how can I, and extend a hand instead and say, how can I help you heal this wound? What can I do as your brother, as your sister? And what can I do to help out, and that's how we're going to get through this, as opposed to trying to keep throwing everybody else under the bus. It's just not going to work.
No, and I think that there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel there for even Vic. I mean, like Yellow was saying earlier, over $102,000 raised for his legal defense, and I'm pretty sure if for whatever reason, it exceeds that amount, people people are gonna come and support. I mean, it's been really amazing and interesting to see like a community come together behind him. Not only that, despite his convention appearances being canceled, there's conventions now coming around, like starting to book them, showing what's the one Yellow that the most recent one that he got booked to.
Yeah, HawaiiCon.
HawaiiCon. That's right, HawaiiCon, and then the other one I think is Anime Matsuri that is firmly taking his side, which I think is I think that's great.
There's boycott these. There's like boycott Matsuri now, boycott HawaiiCon. Like,
well,
they just come out for everything.
It's this whole pendulum. It's the rubber band effect. You pull the rubber band back far enough one way, it's going to shoot off the other direction. That much further. And that's, if we can take a step back and look at humanity in a whole, what we're doing right now, we've gone so far into the darkness that when we let that, we pulled the rubber band back so far, when we let it go, we're going to excel and get through all of this so fast. And on the other side of the tunnel, in the light side, we're, this whole, which I see and envision right now, and this my new project, Vision of the Ages, is really focusing on the solutions to the planet's issues. And working with Chief Phil Lane, he sees world peace by 2050, actually before then, but world peace, no hunger, no famine, everybody's taken care of, energy and abundance for every human on this planet. And what we're doing in this project is we're focusing on the solutions that will get us there. Because basically right now we don't need the alien technology. We don't need the secret pill that's going to make us awaken. Like, everything we have to have world peace, abolish famine, it exists right now. We just need to focus on those small little breadcrumbs that they need to be, those seeds that need to be watered to get us there, so they can fully blossom and bloom by 2050 or before. And it's a sort of a movement. I'm finding a lot of, as I'm doing this documentary and interviewing different solutionaries around the planet, there's a lot happening right now. And this is where, focus on the positive, show the support for Vic, amazing. And, have conventions, getting them back on, this is how we heal the planet, is we look at the positive side, the benefits, and instead of focusing on the negative stuff.
Absolutely. And that's the good thing, right? I think the, even though it hasn't even gone to trial yet, I think the healing is already beginning. It's crazy. It's such a quick turnaround, because you would have thought that, that this might be something that, it might be years, but it looks like already it's already beginning. So there's definitely truth what you're saying with how people are and the tools that they have. I mean, it's all within everybody. So
we have the power. Look at us. I'm in Japan, and we're using the internet.
I'm in Florida. I'm here in Florida, man. So
So we're having this conversation, and it's getting it's going out, and we can, it's the internet and all this technology, it's a tool. It can be used to build or destroy, but luckily humanity has chosen to build more with it. There are these times, destroying careers and these kinds of things, that internet is and has been being used. The Facebook thing with all of the data being collected in a nefarious way, and we're seeing that finally come out now. But let's focus on the building of it. What Facebook has been used, what an awesome tool it's been to communicate and to get articles and messages and things out there. But let's also acknowledge that it can be used in a nefarious way, and we need to sort of keep a check on it. We need to keep a check on all this stuff. All these technologies and all of these things. But little tangent there on Vic and the whole thing. But I think some really good conversations came of it. So
no, man, I always enjoy, like, whenever you're in town and we get together to eat. It's it's kind of the same. We just kind of keep keep spiraling and spitballing off stuff. I don't mind it at all, man, because it's always interesting stuff. So
yeah, I love these conversations too.
Yeah.
I appreciate the topics, and it's timely, and it's just reflective, on many issues.
Well, I hope. Look, man. One thing I do hope is, because now that you've put your support out there, hopefully nobody's going to give you too much things over. Which I don't think really, because I mean, it may happen. Because I know Todd Habercorn. Do you know him too?
Oh yeah, I love him.
Yeah, I know he's standing with Vic, and he's actually he's also, I think he's hired the same law firm, I believe, because of accusations that have come out against him. So they're standing together, man. And I think hopefully
that's a really funny case.
Yeah, and
she, real quick with her, there's all kinds of leaked text messages between them, and it pretty much looks like she wanted a relationship, he didn't, and kind of blew her off, and she didn't like that too much. And well, now Todd's in his situation.
Wow. Yeah. Again, it's just this. We just need to use discernment, and and this is what all of this is teaching everybody, right? To discern these allegations, these type of situations. Again, to use empathy for this person who I have no idea who it is, but this person and other people like that, because again, there's truth to what they're saying, not truth in the sense that maybe it's Todd or Vic, but just truth. And these people have been abused. I don't know a single woman on this planet who has not been abused at some point in some way. Just the fact that they're women, and the way men have been treating women has just not been cool. And what all this is showing us is it's not cool. But what she's doing and lashing out to Vic and Todd, that's not cool either. That's not the way to handle this. No. And we need to support each other.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we can all agree, at least on that point of and I think there's truth to what you're saying too, in the sense, these people being broken inside. But let's open up now to questions from the fans a little bit, because I know there's people that are wanting to ask you stuff, Reuben. So, but let me get some of these super chats first. Okay, Andros the Warrior High Alpha $5 says the whole deer zombie disease started from the government experiment, and one deer might have escaped from them, and that's how it started. Nice to meet you. Interesting comment.
Is that a question, or is that just a statement?
That was his comment. All right, let's see. And for those of you in the chat now, hey, we're gonna start. You can start asking some questions. There's a lot of people here in the chat. There's about 128.
I'll back about the the Vic talk, the alien talk. We've got on some weird topics here.
So no, man, we've been all over the place, man. But that's fun, man. That's part of the fun of talking with you, bro. Is that it's we're in one place and then we're in another the next. So,
but it's all interconnected. It's all aliens, right?
Dude, it's all fun though, man. I like. Hey, I'm into it, man.
I love the alien stuff, man. I watch a lot of. One of my favorite channels on YouTube is this guy named he's a Secure Team. You ever heard of him?
Oh yeah, I know Secure Team. He's great.
That's a great channel.
He's always getting some. He's got a lot of views. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's got a huge channel. I've been following him for a long time. He's got a couple million, I think, something.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't agree with everything he puts out, but it's a lot. Hey, it's.
I just I like that he vets a lot of it, and he's always got the best UFO footage that you can find.
Yeah,
interesting stuff on there, especially like that
drone footage that came out lately. That that was pretty compelling. Somebody caught a UFO on a drone.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I have to go check his channel. They've kind of suppressed a lot of that stuff on YouTube now, so I have to physically go to his channel if I ever want to.
Well, there's a topic we can talk about: suppression of the First Amendment. Oh my God, that Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, these big I would call them media conglomerates, but they can get away with it. Why? Because they're private industries now, but they're just blatant suppression of free speech. Who knows about this conversation? May even be blocked later.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like the country's going backwards in some senses like that. So
it's insane. It is absolutely insane, and it's a huge awakening at the same time, because we get to see how these media conglomerates are, one, secretly sharing our data with the highest bidder, the CIA, basically, and then the just the First Amendment. Whether you're into aliens or vaccines or whatever it is, it's just blatant manipulation and shifting of information and hiding of information, or blatant blocking of information, and them putting it under umbrella of hate speech or whatever, when there is no hate speech, no profanity, no hate, no whatsoever, but yet being blocked, blatant blockness. So that's a whole other topic we could go, probably spend 2 hours on.
Oh, we definitely, you need to be back on again in the future, man, so we can do this again.
Sure.
But let's try to get some of these questions in from the peeps here. The legendary Devil Hunter Dante says, the way I see it personally is like what Reuben said. The movement started off good, but when they turned and pulled a Virgil, I need more power.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. They definitely went Virgil on us.
Yep. All right. Let's see. Crimson Glory, $5 says Russia, Russia, Russia. Vise is always Muta Russia. Not sure what that means, but
it's just
referring back to when he was talking about the Russian investigation,
the Russian collusion thing, and it's been 2.5 years, and we still don't have any solid evidence of any kind of Russian collusion. But that seems to be the narrative, just to throw people, get people riled up and get, people excited, and it's like, come on, we got to drop this this crazy.
There's more important things going on in the world.
It's a smoke screen to keep us distracted.
Yeah, exactly. I agree 100% with that, and that's part of the problem. Okay, Earthbound 3D Production says, I have a question for Reuben. Do you have any knowledge on if Capcom would eventually remaster the DMC trilogy with the Resident Evil engine? And would you support it or be willing to reprise yourself in them?
First, I don't have any knowledge of that going on. I mean, how many different renditions of special editions, HD collection, all these other things have they already released?
They already did a remastered trilogy. Didn't have the fourth one in it, but
exactly.
1, 2, 3. I can get that on Xbox One, PC, PS4.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they would do that again. Who knows? Two, I'm always down for any kind of work. So, especially a role as cool as Dante, to what an honor and to play this character, to just goof off and have a great time. So any opportunity to do so, whether it's a remastered thing or a new game or an offshoot or a guest appearance on another game, or absolutely, you're not going to get any complaints from me. I'll be the first one to pick up the phone when that call comes in and say yes, yes, yes.
That's awesome. That's the way it should be, man. All right, Apocalo, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, but Apocalo Taurus Extras says, hey, Reuben, this might be a weird question, but do you happen to be a fan of kaiju / monster movies? If so, do you have any favorites?
Yes. It's been a while. I haven't been, the Shin Godzilla was great. I don't know. Did that ever get a U.S. release?
It did. It got a limited U.S. release. October of the year it came out in Japan, which was, I think, 2015 is when that came out? I want to say 2015, 2016. So I know it came out, I believe, in July in Japan, and then, or something like that. And then a couple months later in October, I actually went with a funny thing. I actually went with James Griff.
Oh, okay.
I went with him to go see Shin Godzilla.
Nice.
At the theater.
So I haven't been watching lately too many, even what was the Guillermo del Toro film, the big monsters fighting?
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim. Yeah.
As badly acted and performed as that movie was, the kaiju fighting was amazing. And I would consider that a kaiju movie. So I think
that was the influence for it, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I really enjoyed that movie. for that aspect. I didn't catch it. Didn't they make a second one?
Yeah, they made a second one. I haven't seen it yet, though. I think Yellow, you've seen it though, right? You've seen the second Pacific Rim.
I fell asleep through it. It's nowhere near as good. The first one is the way to go.
Yeah, the first one really rocked, and I was fan. I'm so glad that Guillermo did that sort of homage to the kaiju franchise. No, I wouldn't say franchise. The kaiju genre, right? So I thought he did a really good job with the monster fighting and the robots, and big fan of that. So that was sort of like all of the best of all of the different kaiju movies wrapped into one. But yeah, I'm definitely a big fan of kaiju stuff.
Perfect.
By the way, I made it. What's up?
Oh, Hero Hey has joined the stream. What's up, Hero?
Yeah, how
What's
you guys
going
doing,
on, buddy? How's it going?
Good.
Welcome
Sorry
to
I'm
the
late.
stream,
I'm glad to be here though.
Hey,
Yeah,
Daryl, how's it going?
Going pretty well. Thank you.
Yeah, we're on with Reuben right now. Yeah, we were just talking. We were all over the place with stuff, man. So glad you finally made it.
And we're
It's
talking
an honor to be here.
Big Vic, aliens, kaiju.
Alien,
wow.
kaiju, everything, man. Yeah.
He's kind of a kaiju alien.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Now we're just kind of opening it up to questions from the fans a little bit, but we'll keep things going here. Explosive Phoenix asks Reuben, what is Nine and Madness? Are they any of those anime IMDb has you listed in these roles? If possible, can you talk about these shows?
Nine and Madness. Oh, is it something on my IMDb? A lot of stuff makes it on IMDb that I have no idea what it is.
There it goes.
I'm gonna go look for it right now. Actually,
It's like, wait a minute, I didn't do this.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I think I know what that Madness is. Hold on. Is it under actor? Oh, this is unfortunate. So Madness was a project that my friend Rachel Laura introduced me to, and the director, he just passed away like last month. So I don't know how that's going to get finished even. I think I just showed up in an interview. Did I do an interview or something like that? I don't really.
Well, I remember you told me you did an interview, I think last week when you were still.
This Madness. This has been years ago. I did an interview for Marty, the director, and he since passed. Just like last month, I was on the phone with Rachel she was kind of it kind of hit her really hard, and it was sort of a sudden passing. So I don't know where that project is if it's going to continue or what's going to happen with that. But let me see, what's the other project they were mentioning? Let me go back to my main page here. I don't, a lot of these things, people will just make it up. The unfortunate part about IMDb is you could just list somebody in your film and put it up there, and it's like there.
Well, I heard that with IMDb it has some kind of bug, like even if somebody like like you were saying, that anybody can add you on a credit, and if it's not something you did, what ends up happening is, I believe, if you were to request to have it removed from there, I think what it does is that it creates a whole nother profile, but it retains the name. So it's like some kind of weird bug or something. So there would be another Reuben Langdon profile, but it wouldn't be you. It'd be just a completely separate one created with just that film credit, even though it's not, it's just something weird.
That is weird.
Within IMDb, yeah, that they haven't, the site's been up for years, and apparently it still does that. It's just so.
Yeah.
Either way,
I'm looking at Dark Contact. So Dark Contact, I'm looking at writer-director Jin Kelly. So Jin, this is probably something that he's developing, and he hit me up probably a long time ago saying, hey, I've got this project. Would you be interested? And I think I said yes. So he's probably, it says status development unknown. So I haven't heard anything from him, and I haven't shot anything for this project. So it's a it's up in the air. Number 9, I don't know what the hell number 9 is. Oh, looks like it's another Marty project. So I would say that's probably gonna not happen at this point. So once IMDb and Marty's family or whoever's in charge of doing that, those projects I'm sure will be removed. Number 9 and what was the other one? Madness,
yeah.
So what exactly is the problem? Someone got credited and they shouldn't have, or what?
No, just that which I've had that happen sometimes. I'm like, I didn't work on that, or that's not. Please don't. I think what people are asking here is that these projects in development. There's 2 projects that are up on my IMDb that show that it's in pre-production, post-production, whatever, and I'm just sort of explaining the Madness and the number 9 project were being spearheaded by Marty Thomas, I think is his last name, and he passed away last year. So I don't think those projects are going to go anywhere.
I see.
Or they may be picked up by somebody else. I don't know. But I remember for Madness, I think I did an interview at some point for that. And I remember talking to him, and he had these other grand ideas. And I was like, yeah, whatever, I'm down. So, of course, I gave him permission to use my name and promoting the project. And I'm sure he obviously he did that with putting it on IMDb. Same with Dark Contact. It looks like Jin has his projects in development, and he approached me, hey, would you be interested in this? And I said, yeah, just keep me apprised. And then people do that. They ask, can I put you in the proposal? Can I add you? Obviously they make an IMDb account, and it just helps with them collecting the money, developing the project, but they haven't come to fruition yet. So I haven't shot anything for these projects. So I don't know. I can't really say.
That sounds pretty rough.
Yeah. Oh wait, I didn't even know this. The most interesting man in show business. What is that?
There you go.
There's another one.
They got you all over, man. So let me take another question here from somebody. Hope Faith asks, hey Reuben, did you ever receive Dante's coat, any coat, from 3 to 5 as a gift? And this is funny because we talked about this, a couple days back, right?
Yeah. You're like, hey, nice coat in that from the at TGS, and as well as at this launch party event here in Japan. I got to wear the coat that the actual coat that just a little video game nerd inside info. The video games have become so realistic, right? Photorealistic, and especially 5. Like, look at it, just the amazing graphics and everything. It's actually cheaper for them to hire. It was in this case cheaper for them to hire a stylist or a wardrobe artist to design a coat, and then to scan the coat and put it into the computer, as opposed to hire a team of model builders to create a coat that would have taken them probably a week to maybe 3 weeks to actually make a coat in the 3D space. They'd have better quality, and it would be cheaper for them. This is what Capcom told me, to actually make a real coat, which is bizarre to think about it.
Yeah.
Because the real coat, it was real leather. That probably killed about 5 cows to make the thing.
Jesus.
It was heavy. It was very heavy, and I had motorcycle pants, which also probably 2 cows died for that one, and the shirt and everything. But they actually, I did not do the actual modeling for this time for Dante. It was they casted somebody out of England to do the face scans. And this is why games now, they're so photorealistic. It's actually cheaper and faster and better for them to just find real people, real wardrobes, real clothes to scan and put that into the computer.
Whoa. And then they make that into a video game character?
And then make it into a video game character. So this coat, I was told, cost over $10,000. just for the coat. And not to mention the pants and everything else that went into it. So they were not going to give me the coat. Even though I sort of hinted, I said, this is a really nice coat. I'd love to take this home. That many times on many levels, but they were like, no, you're not taking that home.
Long story short, you can't have it. Sorry.
You can't have it. So, but, and I think for four, a coat designer created, I forgot the name, and it sucks. I feel so bad because they actually gave me the coat. They said, hey, we're making a coat for 4. It was when the special edition was released for 4.
The HD one, right?
What's that?
The HD remastered one or whatever?
Yeah. I think a special edition where they made like Trish and Lady and Virgil playable characters. Oh,
okay.
So a close company teamed up with Capcom and actually made a Devil May Cry 4 coat. And they said, we'd love to gift you one. Just take a picture and put it on Twitter. So I actually got the coat and took a picture with Itsuno-san and posted it. So I do have that coat in my closet somewhere.
At least you got one of them at least.
I got one. For Devil May Cry 3, they made a coat for the live action commercial that we shot. And same thing. It was like, it cost $10,000 more than, my entire guarantee. Actually, for the commercial, I didn't get any money at all. But the, just cost more than half the production of the whole commercial was like the cost of the coat. So that's sitting in some museum or some warehouse or some Capcom executive's office somewhere.
Yeah, right. You just guys are like on a coat rack over there.
Yeah,
just
like,
that one coat.
You want to put on this coat? Cool. So that's the coat story.
Nice. So, all right, Yankee Doodle, $5 asks, Reuben, who is your favorite DMC gal and why?
Favorite DMC gal? Well, I love all the gals. I can't really pick favorites. Otherwise, fans are gonna kill me. My favorite, I would have to say, for now, is my wife did an amazing Lady cosplay. So my favorite DMC gal is my wife, for her portrayal of Lady, and she has hinted that she would, for the fans, do a Trish at some point to balance things out because she also doesn't want to do favorite. But she did an exceptional Lady at the TGS Tokyo Game Show last year, and I'm a big fan of that. Big fan of her representation of Lady.
So you took the right approach there. Oh, wife is favorite.
Yes, wife is a favorite.
Wise. All right, so let's take this question, and then Hero, since you joined kind of late, you could kind of have you asked Reuben something since you came a little late to the party here, but
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I definitely did a little bit, but at least I made it.
Oh no, bro, you made it. That's what counts. So let's have Reuben take this question real quick first. So Gbaki's93 asks, hey Reuben, big fan of DMC. What was it like to work with Johnny Youngbosch and Dan Southworth? Also, have you seen B-Fighter since you rapped on it?
B-Fighter, it's been a while since I've seen B-Fighter, but I did see when they released the DVDs a few years back, like 10 years back. It's been like only 20 years since that show. I did see the DVDs, brought back memories. And then, John, when you did your special Gaijin Memories, and you did clips and stuff, I think that sort of brought back some B-Fighter memories. That was cool to have that conversation and to go, go down memory lane. And working with Johnny and Dan is always a pleasure. I love those guys. They're such a joy to work with. Super professional, laid back, and we always have great conversations. I can't really talk about aliens around Dan. He gets upset.
I've witnessed that firsthand. I remember when you came to Ranger Stop.
It's great. I like to poke fun at him though, because a lot of people see in the past, they've seen me and Dan on set actually, sort of get into it about aliens, and they get worried. People are like, "Oh my God, oh no, they're fighting, or what's going on?" And it's Dan and I have a great relationship with this stuff, and I don't take it too seriously. I don't think he does either at the end of the day, but in our conversations, it may sound like we're really serious about it all. And I think for all this stuff, this is what I really want people to understand. For all of my crazy out there research and belief systems, I take it with a grain of salt. I don't claim to know the truth, and if anybody does, I'd say run the other direction, because this, we don't know really what's going on in this reality, and it's this discovery, this process of discovery, that makes it so exciting. So Dan and I, have these somewhat heated discussions around the alien topic, in the sense of it being real or not real and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, no matter what Dan's beliefs or anyone's beliefs at that matter, I do not take offense, and I appreciate any kind of feedback or engaged conversation is the way I look at it, and I like it. I don't take any offense to anybody not agreeing with me. This is, in fact, the world would be a very boring place if everybody believed what I did and went along with my peanut butter. But Dan, I always look forward to, Dan and I have worked a lot with each other on a lot of different projects. And he's kind of literally, almost like a real life brother in a lot of ways, because of our training, working with Power Rangers, working with Yuji on Devil May Cry, working on other shows in the stunt world. We worked on the New World together. We have a very similar skill set when it comes to, motion capture, acting, stunts, stunt rigging, Hong Kong influences and the roots. So there's a lot of, usually he's my number one guy that if I can't make a job, I recommend him. And I think he does that a lot for me too, and recommends me for a lot of projects because of our height and our skill sets and everything else. So always a pleasure. Johnny, super sweet guy. Love his music, love his attitude. I see him more at conventions. We haven't worked together other than Devil May Cry. We've trained together back in the day. We used to train together with the Power Ranger crew. So yeah, any opportunity, like I knew when Devil May Cry 5 was coming up, one of the great things I was looking forward to was just being on set with those guys again, because we get along so well, and it's such an honor and joy to hang out after work, go to the izakaya here in Japan and hang out and, shoot the shit, so to say, and just have a good time.
Yeah. All right, so
that is a good time.
Yeah. So Hero, now that you're here, finally,
Yeah.
if you got any questions for Reuben?
Well, yeah. I mean, the one question I've always wanted to ask a prominent voice actor who's worked on a character for a while is, how have you noticed like your voice changing over the years, and do you have to kind of like, is it very regiment keeping it in line for Dante, or you know what I mean?
No, I've actually, it's been quite a natural journey for me with Dante, because the character started off, I was in my early 30s when, or no, late 20s, early 30s when, Devil May Cry 3 came about. Mm-hmm. And I had always been, I'd always had this sort of youthful, up until that point, I should say, this youthful, I looked younger than I actually was. And I always had a younger sounding voice, a younger, I don't know, just a younger, I didn't quite fit in my age range at that time. I always played younger younger roles.
Uh-huh.
It's like after that, after Devil May Cry 3, I guess puberty hit, and a little late, and my voice started to change. I started actually. It wasn't until just a few years ago where I could actually grow facial hair. You know, that was not something that even happened for me until
geez.
just a few years ago.
Well,
So,
I don't feel so bad anymore about that part for myself.
so it was when Devil May Cry 4 came along. You know, I had to re-audition for the role because, you know, Capcom, they were kind of like, well, this is a very different rendition of the character than we had imagined, or than your version, you know, the younger sort of teenage version character, and we want to make sure you can play the role. And I'm like, well, it's actually closer to my age now, so why don't I just play my age now as opposed to trying to play a young guy? And I didn't have to really try to play a young guy so much. It was sort of a natural thing. And I think just running a company, having employees, and going through the stresses of all of that really aged me very quickly. So yeah, when it came time for 4, and they sort of Itsuno-san gave me the role model. He sort of said, "Hey, Dante is modeled after Roy Fokker in the Macross series, which was my favorite character in the series." And I said, "Oh, that's cool. I love Roy. I'd love to absolutely try to play Dante in that, you know, having that image in the background." And then I re-auditioned, you know, for the older version of Dante, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you got this, no worries." And then 5 came around, you know, several years, a decade later, and basically just, you know, a few years after 4, and Capcom didn't really have more for them. It was like, do you remember the role? So I had to audition once again.
Oh man.
Not so much to prove if I could do Dante or not. It was just like, hey, do you still remember these characters? And I remember Dan and I auditioned together, which they didn't like hold an open audition and have other guys in. Like 3 and 4, they actually held auditions and open auditions and had other people audition for the role. Where for 5, it was just like, hey, can you guys just throw something on tape just to make sure you guys still remember the role? And that was easy to do, and I think we nailed it. And they were like, yeah, you guys remember, of course. And and then they got us back, and we did our thing.
So it all kind of fell in place, it sounds like.
Yeah, it was very natural. You know, I didn't have to extend myself or do any deep character research and study. You know, it's just kind of like, hey, can you do this? And it's just like, yeah, just be my normal dorky, goofy self, and everybody loved it. So,
to be fair though, you made a good point about it, right? About how Dante was a little bit different too, and the age and everything worked out. Because at first they were a little skeptical, it sounded like, until you said that, right?
Yeah. They were not sure, you know, and they just make sure, okay, can these guys do this? And yeah, so it was pretty easy, nothing too dramatic.
So I got to jump out, guys.
All righty. Well, hey, thanks for being here, Yellow Flash. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this soon. So, but thanks for being here, Yellow.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was great talking to you, Reuben.
Yeah, thank you. Pleasure. Hopefully we'll see you in Orlando soon. Are you in Orlando?
No, but I'm going to Anime Matsuri if you're going down there for that.
Oh, that's what we need to do. We need to get Reuben. We need to get the people at Anime Matsuri to invite Reuben to be a guest over there.
Yeah. Wait, is that the one? Are they the guys that and Vic or no?
Houston.
Yeah, Vic's gonna be at that one.
Oh, he will be at that one. Oh, great.
Yeah, it's in June.
It'd be great to meet up with him and you guys, and yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Throw my name in the hat.
Let's take a couple more questions.
See you guys.
Peace out, Flash.
Flash. Thanks for being on, man. All right, so let's take a couple more questions here, and also here you could throw in some. Fight the Rave, $2 asks, Reuben, how did you feel about Dante cursing?
Did he curse in 5? I guess maybe a little bit, huh?
Probably.
But nothing compared to the remake, you know, or to the crazy emo Dante. That was just like so out of it seemed so forced, you know, to throw a little cuss word here and there. It's like, okay, I get it. But the you know, the reboot version, it was, that guy had such a profanity, you know, coming out of his mouth. It was like, this is not Dante. What are you? And it was like a just an uncomfortable stretch of profanity. It was like they were trying to throw in profanity everywhere they could, and I'm like, that's just not cool, you know? I mean,
yeah, it's not how it works.
If it comes out naturally, sure, I get it. But I think in 5, I think if there was a cuss word or profanity, it was very minimal, if any, at all. I don't even remember, actually. So that shows how much there was.
Well, it's good that it wasn't like, because yeah, I think it's kind of a crutch when there's too much of things like that instead of like just good dialogue. So
exactly, yeah. When it and that was definitely the case with the reboot. It was forced profanity, which is why do it? If it aids, I don't mind profanity if it aids in the situation and the character, and you know, and I've been through, you know, if you look at my my shooting incident video, you know, I put a little parental advisory in that because I normally don't use profanity in my normal conversation, but after getting shot at, like every third word was a curse word.
Yeah.
And that was that's in those extreme situations. I think that's just naturally that's what comes out.
I mean, that story is insane too about that. I mean,
yeah,
I don't want to take all the questions. Oh, you're probably already talked about that, huh?
Yeah, we went into that a little bit already.
Oh man.
No, but it's all right here. Don't worry, because you know, we'll have Reuben on again. You know, hopefully here in the future.
That'd be awesome.
You know, so you can be on that one from the beginning. I mean, we're not going to pull the plug right this second. I mean, we'll take a couple more questions from people.
Yeah, I just don't want to cuck your viewers' questions. If still got those coming in.
No, you're good. I mean, we'll take another one right now, real quick, from K Dystopic Reuben. I have to ask, do you ever try the iconic pizza prosciutto with potatoes, pepperonis, and garlic? Okay, this person wants to know if you've eaten that kind of pizza before.
Back in the day, probably. I'm vegetarian now, so I don't. The only pizza I really eat is a margarita. I don't do pepperonis or the salami or any of that stuff. So, but it sounds awesome. Sounds really good.
All right, so we'll take another one here. Dante Blackline asks, "What is your dream crossover with DMC?"
Devil May Cry and Bayonetta.
Ooh, that's a pretty fitting one.
Yeah, very interesting.
Hopefully that'll come to fruition at some point.
I'm sure it will. I don't see why it shouldn't. Let's see. Adam Watkins asks, Reuben, my dream is to one day become a toku. Well, I think this is just more of a declaration here. Reuben, my dream is to one day become a tokusatsu actor. I heard you trained at Toei Actions Club. How is training? Was it difficult at first? Okay, so there's the question.
Yeah, it was amazing and very difficult at the same time. Amazing in the sense that I found my true passion when my first day of action school, being able to, learn how to do, gymnastics and fight choreography and stunts and, be a superhero, right? You're trained to be a superhero. What better thing to do, for a young teenager, or I was just in I think I just turned 21 at the time, or just before my 21st birthday. What better thing to ask for, right? You're training to be a superhero. So it was an absolute joy. And if anybody wants to be a superhero, the action schools in Japan are amazing. There's other schools in the States now that offer similar type stuff. I highly recommend any type of martial art training, really. It's such an amazing gift we have for humanity. So get in there and get some training in.
I agree with that. What's an action school, huh? I should look into that. That sounds cool. I train jiu-jitsu, little Muay Thai.
Nice. Yes. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the martial arts. I mean, that's my my whole livelihood has been
oh wow
based on my martial art training.
I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, I mean that's how I got my start in all of this, was my passion for martial arts. I started late because I just didn't have access. Dan and Johnny got in early. They were like teenage champions of their arts, specific arts, when they were growing up, and then that transitioned to the Power Rangers. But I was a huge fan of Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and martial art action cinema, and of course Power Rangers and Sentai. And there's something, whether there's something about the martial arts or any sport, really, any kind of physically challenging activity that anyone pursues, there's a certain conditioning that has to go into your mind and the mental aspects of the focus and the diligence that goes into any type of training of that sort. And I think it should be mandatory for all kids to have that, to go through some sort of, whether it's martial arts or sports or physical, whether it's physical or internal, because I think they both reflect each other. So even if you have a child who doesn't want to go into the physical aspects, but something of like breath work or yoga or
you're right. I think
mindfulness. And if you didn't want to sit still and do the mindfulness stuff, well, go take some jiu-jitsu classes, because it's very similar. They cross. When you're doing all of that external training, you're also training your internal simultaneously, whether you know it or not. And I think that's just been a huge aspect of just my whole beingness of who I am and where I've come to in my life, is because of my martial art training.
Do you have a favorite style at the moment, or just kind of dabbling into like a lot of stuff?
I was doing BJJ for a while, and then I tore my ACL.
Oh man, the ACL, yeah, it's a common one.
And that sort of set me back a little bit, because it took me out of stunts. It took me out of my career, my livelihood. And I was like, okay, I got to be more careful. I can't just be, I was going at it hard. I was going 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I was so in love with it. It was so challenging and fun, and a great workout. But after that, I sort of took a step back, and I've been doing the Wim Hof method. I don't know if you're familiar with Wim Hof.
No, I don't.
Breathing techniques.
Oh, it's breathing techniques, huh?
It's breath work. A lot of BJJ practitioners, professionals, are doing Wim Hof as a supplement to their training.
Isn't that? My bad. I just want to interject. Yeah. Isn't that something that what's his name? One of the Gracies. Which one? I want to say the oldest Gracie brother, the one that never lost in an MMA fight. I forget his name. His name is escaping right. Not Hoist. Not Hoist. Hoist's older brother.
Even older.
Hickson Gracie.
Yeah.
Hickson Gracie. I think that's the breathing. I'm not 100% sure, but he's saying that
doing his own breath work. He's not doing the Wim Hof method specifically, but a lot. It's very similar, and the adding the breath work, adding cold exposure. The Wim Hof method is basically, if your listeners want to just Google Wim Hof, he's a great role model.
How do you spell that?
WIMHOF method.
One more time. I'm sorry.
WIMHOF.
Okay, cool.
On my YouTube channel, I actually made a little short film. I think it's like a 10-minute short film of me going down the rabbit hole with the Wim Hof method and sort of some of my discoveries, and has me going into a freezing lake in Big Bear and immersing myself in next to freezing water, 36 degree water for about 10 minutes, and it's really helped me over the past couple of years. So it's not as aggressive as BJJ, but I get the physical workouts through the yoga training and everything. as well as the mental aspects. So that's sort of been my new martial art in a way. More of the internal work, because it's a lot of breath work and meditation.
Yeah, it's definitely underrated. I mean, it's something that's getting more popular over the years, but still definitely underrated in my opinion. The breathing I do is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but like Qing Zhang or Qi Zhang, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I've that sounds familiar. I'm not too, I don't know exactly what it is. Is it?
It's just a basic way of breathing, like through the stomach and all that. It's not like it's not like nearly as far as I know, at least, as complicated as like the Wim Hof method sounds. Like actually going out to a lake and like that's some dedication right there.
Well, the Wim Hof method is surprisingly simple once you get into it. There's a few things that are, at first it may seem overwhelming. Once you're doing it, like, oh, this is he's kind of like the I call Wim Hof the karate of breath work.
Okay.
Because karate sort of simplified all these different kung fu styles and different things, and they sort of broke it down into some basic a few basic sets of moves to defend yourself, right, or to attack, where there's all these different breath styles out there. You're just mentioning one there, Hero. Then you have, the Kundalini work, which is super complicated. And there's just a lot out there. And I feel Wim really simplifies it. You're just doing some basic breaths, big deep breaths through your mouth. And then he also incorporates cold water or cold exposure, whether it's water or, running out in the snow barefoot. As well as different yoga poses, and sort of that combination. And I made a nice little video, so you can see it on my YouTube channel or on my Vimeo channel. Check that out. It's sort of my exploration into Wim Hof.
Yeah, so for those of you that want to check it out, be sure to check out Reuben's channel. Your channel name is the same, right? It's Reuben Langdon.
Yeah, Reuben Langdon. For Vimeo, Reuben Langdon across the board for all my stuff, from my website to Instagram to Facebook to Vimeo. I'm on all the platforms. Just Reuben Langdon, and you'll get there and get access to lots of cool videos.
All right, so we'll take like 2 more questions because now we're pushing past the 2-hour mark here, and hey, we'll have you close it out. Since you came on board a little late.
Oh, it's all good. I mean, I'm curious about the martial arts stuff. So,
all right, so we'll have you close it out with that. So Kamal Amat Wakil, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, says, Reuben, are you going to voice Dante in Netflix DMC adaptation?
That's a good question. I would love to. I haven't heard anything other than I heard there was sort of an announcement of it. I actually went back and asked Itsuno-san about that. I said, hey, what's up with this Netflix Devil May Cry? And he said, the producer of that, what's the guy, what's his name, that announced that he was doing, the Castlevania guy.
I don't know his name, but you mean the Castlevania Netflix series, right?
The Netflix series Castlevania producer. He also produced that Power Ranger, the Dark Power Ranger short.
What's his name? Justin, or no? Was it? I know who you're talking about now. I forget. Yeah, I want to say his last name is Khan.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's it.
I think it's something Khan. I forget his first name. But you mean the Power Ranger short that he did with with Dawson from Dawson's Creek?
Yeah.
So, I think it's. I want to say it's like James Khan or something like that, or
not James.
Something Khan.
He So anyways, that guy, we'll look him up later. I think he was in the way Itsuno-san told me is he was in negotiations with Capcom to do the series, and he sort of prematurely pulled the trigger and announced it as a Netflix thing, which no deals have been signed.
Yeah,
that was a few months ago. So maybe since then they have, and I think they were about to sign a deal, but Capcom, they're not fans of sort of, I guess, the American way of creating hype. they like to keep things very hush hush until it's official.
Close to the vest.
So I think he may have pissed some people off by doing that.
Oops.
Hopefully it won't negatively affect any dealings or things that he has moving forward, because it sounds cool. I mean, I watched the Castlevania series. He seemed to do a really good job and really understand the fan, what the fans want. So I think he would probably do a really good job with the Devil May Cry franchise if he were to be able to get it out there and get it on Netflix. And of course, I would love to reprise my role as Dante for that. But as far as any information or anything like that, I haven't heard anything.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think somebody corrected saying it was Adi Shankar.
Yes, that's him.
That's it. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and take one more question here. Then Hero, you could wrap it up for us with whatever you want to put out there. Let's see. I just saw this question. Where is it? Fine. All right, here we go. The Devil Breaker asks, Reuben, do you think Devil May Cry 2 should get a remake? I hear Itsuno dislikes his first action game. They should fix it.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. Yes, Itsuno-san was not a fan of that at all. He really was had to rush to get that out. Literally, I think they made the whole production of that game was under a year.
Wow.
Which is, when you think about it, just insane schedule. When you think at, Devil May Cry 5, I think it's been in the works for 4 years, maybe at least. So yeah, that would be cool if they did that. Actually, it'd be something to look at.
Good. I think people want you to say jackpot.
Jackpot.
All right, Hero, why don't you go ahead and close us out, man, and ask Reuben whatever's on your mind real quick. And like I said, we'll have Reuben on again and have you on earlier next time. That way you could really get a chance to talk to him a bit more.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and to anybody in the chat that we didn't get the questions, sorry, there was just so many, questions coming in. Sorry if we didn't get all your questions. I promise that we'll have Reuben back on and we'll try to be more centering around answering your questions next time around. Just be patient with us. It was first time us having us on. We wanted to kind of have him tell his story on the things he's experienced as of late. So, Pixel Game Squad, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. You came at the last moment though, but Hero, go ahead, man. Floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. Did you have a favorite move when you still train BJJ? And if not, I'll figure a different question out.
I have really long legs, so I'm a fan of the triangle.
I kind of thought you'd say that. Yeah, it's a great move. Me too, actually. It took me a while to get the hang of that one though. Pushing the arm in and everything. Yeah,
it's a little difficult to get in there, but that was sort of my go-to tap out move to get folks tapping out.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a great move. It is solid. Definitely takes some practice though. And the transitions to the armbar and stuff are so cool from there. All the different sweeps and stuff. Yeah, it's a good stuff. I mean, if you want to take another question from the chat or something, it's all good. But yeah, it's pretty much the last question I could think of, because now I really just want to keep asking him martial arts stuff. So I don't want to take all your time up doing that though.
No, well, I've got to get going, guys. I got to feed myself and bathroom duty and all that stuff. So
yeah. Well, thank you for answering those questions for me. I appreciate it. Sorry I'm late, but glad I made it.
No, but at least you made it, man. Better late than never. But
yeah, we'll do it again next time. No problem.
Guys, go ahead and plug your stuff where people can find you at. If you want to go first, Reuben, and then we'll have Hero go.
Yeah, one more time. So ReubenLangdon.com, first name, last name, no space. That's sort of the main portal, and it has links to everything out there. But I'm pretty active on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I sort of keep Instagram more for my visual stuff as my documentary filmmaking and cool pictures and my travels. I'm an avid drone pilot, so I do a lot of drone videos and shorts, and I just uploaded yesterday actually a new short film I call Tokyo Kaleidoscope. So check that out. It's on my Vimeo channel. I do a lot of work on Vimeo. I'm just a big fan of their platform, their non-censoring platform compared to YouTube and Facebook and these other cats who are run by the CIA.
Yeah, dude.
That's gonna be perfect for the next stream, and we gotta dive into that one.
So definitely go to check out my Vimeo page. It's got a lot of cool videos on there, including my Wim Hof video I just told you about. And that's just vimeo.com/Reuben Langdon. Most of all my social media stuff is just my first name, last name, one word, Reuben Langdon.
Awesome. And go ahead, Hero. Tell people where they could find you.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at Hero Hei, HeroHei, and on Instagram too. Mine's a little bit different. I mean, I just want that cred for the DMs and all that. But I mean, if you want to follow me on there, that'd be awesome.
There you go. Boom. All right. Well, I just want to go ahead and thank Reuben once again. I want to thank Yellow Flash for being on here. Oh, we got to plug Yellow Flash. For those of you that want to find Yellow Flash on Twitter, he's Yellow Flash Guy, and his YouTube channel, he has 2 of them, but he's been using his Yellow Flash 2 channel more these days. So probably maybe subscribe to that one. His other one is Yellow Flash, I think, Inc. Is that right, Hero?
I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you guys want to subscribe to him, but yeah, we'll try to have Reuben on again here in the future. And like I said, we'll try to see if we can get Hero in here a little bit earlier, because I know Hero's wanting to ask more stuff. So, but hey, Hero, thanks for joining. I know it's better late than never. So, and everyone else,
my pleasure.
Yeah, and everyone else who joined the stream, thank you so much. We'll definitely try to have Reuben back on, or if you're down, of course, Reuben, whenever you got time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and I appreciate your listeners, all their great questions, and in our weaving through the Vic Mignogna alien kaiju world.
I missed some good stuff for sure.
Well, I'll fill you in, Hero, if you want. I'll fill you in on Discord after the stream. I could kind of catch you up to speed.
Definitely. And I do want to say something really quick. It was cool to meet you, Reuben. Thank you so much, man. That was awesome. And thank you, Bounty Hunter, for inviting me, bro. That's
of course,
awesome. I got to do a stream with you guys.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you, man. We'll definitely do it again sometime soon. So for everyone else that's on there, thank you. For those of you that this is your first time on my channel here, just go ahead and subscribe. Like I said, we'll definitely try to get Reuben back on here in the near future when his schedule will allow. So thank you for being a part of the stream. We appreciate it very much. You all have a great night. Like I always say, you know how it goes here on this channel. The hunt continues.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right.